Tonight on Q2, dangerous dogs. The Northern Cheyenne tribe taking extreme measures to tackle what they say is a pressing problem.
This has several volunteers rallying to rescue the animals outraged by what's being planned.
Rescues are overwhelmed, shelters are overwhelmed, and it's just not a reservation problem, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere.
And where's the snow? While we may be waiting for it to arrive in Billings, it's packing a punch elsewhere.
Roads are slick, a couple minor crashes, 2 rollovers, no injuries thankfully.
The storm already having deadly consequences in Wyoming.
The MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Andrea Lutz.
And I'm Russ. We'll have much more on the winter storm in just a minute. But first, abandoned animals. It's a problem impacting animal shelters all across Montana, as many are at capacity.
But on Montana's reservations, the problem is manifesting itself in a completely different way. Packs of abandoned dogs have become dangerous, and right now the Northern Cheyenne tribe is rounding up the animals with plans of euthanizing them.
But as MTN's Jackie Coffin shows us, dozens are looking to intervene by helping the animals find new homes instead.
Oh, they're tiny. They thought they were 8 weeks old?
She said 3 months at first.
No way.
When Kaylee Roy heard about a rescue effort for dogs on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation, she cleared out her car and headed to Lame Deer.
We got a litter of puppies and 4 adults. And we could have taken a whole busload probably, but you know, we did what we could do.
On her way to Sheridan to deliver the dogs to a rescue home, Roy meets up with Eshawn King, the founder of the Freckles and Tomcat Rescue, based in Hardin, to get them all vaccinated.
Here comes another one.
It's hard to look at an animal that's starving or freezing and just walk away from them. So the main thing I would stress is that we need foster homes.
It's the first time these two women have met, brought together by an all-hands-on-deck effort to collar or remove and foster dogs across the reservation. An effort that started this weekend when tribal government announced plans to round up and euthanize stray dogs, citing concerns of bites, mauling, and disease.
I'm sure there's nobody in the tribe that enjoys it coming to that, but it's become a safety concern. Feral dogs, semi-feral dogs, they pack up with friendly dogs. It's just become a concern.
A big concern that turned deadly just over 1 year ago. Back in December of 2021, MTN brought you the story of Duke Little Whirlwind. His family says the 58-year-old was found dead, killed by a pack of dogs.
It's a very big problem. People are walking around with scars on them.
All the time. They're reported to law enforcement. Nothing ever gets done.
It's a problem Tammy Devers says is preventable through spaying and neutering.
It has to be addressed before it comes to that. And the only answer is less puppies being born.
Devers has 20 years of animal rescue experience and took in more than a dozen dogs from Lame Deer.
I had agreed to take 2 juveniles and some small ones, and I ended up taking 15. But how do you say no? How do you say no?
This is one of the puppies that was brought into Hamster Boy and Tiger Lily after it was rescued from Lame Deer over the weekend. She's about 8 weeks old and she's an Akita mix. She came in with her whole litter. What volunteers need now is help with donations, emergency fosters, and soon responsible adoptions.
Rescues are overwhelmed, shelters are overwhelmed, and it's just not a reservation problem. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere.
And compassion for both people and pets. In Hardin, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
According to the ASPCA, approximately 6.3 million companion animals enter U.S. shelters every year. And with inflation predicted to stay at unusually high rates in 2023, many local shelters are fearing for the future.
For many, pets are family.
Perfect match. I'm so glad we have Kyle.
But adding a furry friend to the family can be expensive, and for some, the cost is too much to bear.
We get between 10 and 12 surrenders per week, so we're looking at anywhere between 30 and 50 a month.
Pet surrenderers and abandoned animals are creating a big challenge right now for animal shelters all across Montana. These 4 puppies were recently dumped near a river in eastern Montana. 6 of their siblings were also found but have since been adopted.
You could see like the remnants of the box and the bowl of food that they try to leave out for them when they dump them.
And as sad as it is, stories like this are far too common.
We've seen people tie dogs to our dumpster, tie them to the front door, tie them to the bench. We've seen some pretty sad things, honestly.
According to a recent study by Best Friends Animal Society, more than 2/3 of U.S. households share their homes with cats and dogs. But in 2021, 4.6 million cats and dogs entered U.S. animal shelters. Ashley Burling from Help for Homeless Pets believes the pandemic and the economy play a large role in the high rate of animals currently being abandoned.
I think inflation, I think people going to work after the pandemic, there's other reasons that they're surrendered. When you're talking about inflation, you're talking about vet bills and pet food and pet supplies and pet rent.
But fortunately, there are angels like Megan Williu ready to help. The cost of pet ownership, well worth it.
Oh, 100%. 100% worth it.
An unbreakable bond, no matter the price.
That, you can't put a price on that.
In Billings, Kelsey Marison, MTN News.
New details tonight surrounding what led to a deadly crash involving a Wyoming snowplow and a Jeep Wrangler.
A crash happened Sunday around 9 o'clock in the morning on Highway 335 just south of Sheridan. According to the Wyoming Highway Patrol, county plow driver Carl Schleichart didn't see the car and turned onto the roadway, causing the collision.
A passenger in the Jeep, 29-year-old Zachary Nicholson of Colorado, died at the hospital. It's already the 22nd death on Wyoming roadways this year. There's no word on if charges will be filed in the crash. Tonight, this winter storm is hitting pretty hard in Carbon County. By noon, those living in the county received plenty of snowfall, and the sheriff's office even sent a plea out to residents on social media asking for extreme caution when traveling, maybe even suggesting that their travel plans be postponed. While many of those major roads remain open tonight, Sheriff Josh McQuillan says that could certainly change in the next couple of days.
I think we're just going to play it by ear. The weather forecast just calls for more snow, and with that comes the wind, and everybody wants to go skiing, which is great right now, but you still got to be safe getting there.
McQuillan says some minor crashes and even a few rollovers were reported, but no one was seriously injured in any of them.
Well, that message is a common theme right now across the area. It's better to stay home if you can.
Now, with the snow and cold temperatures, dangerous travel conditions will exist through tonight and into tomorrow. Take a look at even this. It's the Bozeman Pass just a few hours ago. It's only expected to get worse as the night goes along.
We want to send it over to Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh now for the very latest. Ed?
The scene looks pretty cold and snowy as we take a look with the Stockman Bank weather cam live shot here. As we make our way into the evening hours, the temperatures continue to drop. We're now sitting at 10 degrees, factoring that wind gusting up to 28 miles an hour. And it drives the wind chill value down to -9. And we're just getting going when we're talking about that snow potential. A little around the Billings area now. It's a little more widespread than what we're actually seeing on Doppler radar because it's such a fine powdery snow as the temperatures continue to drop. But the entire state covered with winter weather advisories, wind chill advisories, winter storm warnings. All of this is going to lead into some really cold temperatures and the potential for more snow. Give you all the forecast details coming up in just a few minutes from now.
It's no secret that Billings' homeless population has grown in recent years. But what you see on the streets around town is just a small fraction of the real problem. Today, Q2 was the supporting sponsor for a forum hosted by the Billings Chamber titled Unhoused in Billings. A panel of experts who work with this population talked about the challenges, what can be done, and also some of the misconceptions that many people have about them. Well, substance abuse and mental health play a part in many cases. An increasing number of families are simply being priced out of having a place to live, with many landlords taking advantage of the market to sell their rental homes.
The main cause is poverty. It's being able to afford rent and to have a livable housing unit, meaning the utilities as well.
It's proliferated to all walks of life in all areas of the city. Historically, it had always been down around the south side of the tracks and pretty much have that stereotype, but we're not seeing that anymore. We're experiencing it everywhere.
All of those who spoke agreed that it will take a community to fix this problem. It's something we'll be taking a closer look at this Thursday here on the MTN News at 5:30.
Still to come on the MTN 5:30 News on Q2, we'll dive deeper into the Indian Child Welfare Act and the impact it could have on Native American families moving forward.
And later, with redistricting a popular topic in Billings, state lawmakers are looking at a new bill today that could make it a little bit easier. We'll have the details in just a bit.